Alright, everyone, Amarathi here, and I am showcasing what I call my 18 totem build. I think it's 18, I double counted again. This is a Spriggan Swarmblade build, in which you quickly pop into those forms, summon a bunch of totems, pop out of those forms, get your nice buff from being a Druid, which is 70% damage reduction, and you're just going to cycle between the two forms on their bases, so both of them having a 6-second cooldown. You'll go into one form for like about 2 seconds, and then come out, and then you do the other form and go into it for about 2 seconds. What we're going to be doing is we're going into our Spriggan form, we'll be summoning our healing totems like this 3 times, and then we'll do our Swarmblade form, and we will do our Summon Hive like that, hit our Entangling Roots, and we're just going to keep that up, and you can see the damage just popping off there, right? And so those guys are doing upwards of 100k crits on the dummy here. The new dummy that is actually an enemy, so our totems attack them, which by far the single best thing to come out of this. So this is a lot of damage for sure. Alright, now there's a few moving parts that are going on in this build, so I'm going to break it down and what you're trying to do. The thing that's going to matter is your mana. And this is important for how much it takes to get you popped out of your form. So, for example, I'm in Swarmblade form right now. My Summon Hive costs me 85 mana. So if I cast it 3 times, that would come to 255 mana, which is just slightly above the 241 that I have here. Now, because of that, whenever you go below 0, you get back 50 mana minus the cost of like any overdue amount. So 255 minus 241 is 14, and then 14 minus 50, so I would end up with like 30 plus mana, and then I believe I have some idols just to give me... Oh, no, never mind, I don't have idols to give me back extra mana, but it doesn't matter. All I want to do is make sure that I pop... Like, I have the cost of my totems to a certain amount that if I push it 2 or 3 times, it is going to pop me out of form and leave me in a good mana spot. And then same with the Spriggan form, right? To the Summon Healing Totem there. Now, if you haven't worked out already and you're new to the game, I'll go through why our Healing Totem and our Hives are doing damage. Basically, both within the Spriggan form, coming over here, and we're making our Healing Totems benefit from the Thorn Totem skill. So the Thorn Totem is the offensive totem. And likewise, we're doing the same with the Swarmblade over here, and we're making our Hives benefit from the Thorn Totem tree, which basically just means we have a gazillion Thorn Totems out. The most you can basically get in the game because they are a capped resource. The Thorn Totems don't really do too much damage by themselves, but there is a neat little trick that we are going to do, which is this Nightshade Briar. It is like, if you can get a lot of poison on a single enemy, the hit damage of this is just going to ramp up huge. And to do so, we pair this with the Serpent Milk. And so the Serpent Milk basically gives all minions, totems and minions, 200% poison on minion hit, right? So each of those totems are getting 2 stacks onto 2 poison stacks onto the enemy straight away, and that is like 8% increased hit damage alone. And so each of those totems firing as fast as possibly, fast as they can. Each totem's able to hit like the same enemy, so you build up massive stacks. Why you don't just do a poison build is because the second line there, minions deal 90% less poison damage. Meaning that you don't actually do all that much poison damage, you actually do a decent amount because poison is crazy. But really what we're doing is poisoning them to debuff them and making use of that through the Nightshade Briar. So, jump into the Swarmblade form, we hit our Summon Hive, we've made it cost 85 mana. I'll talk about the mana in just a moment. We get popped out. We go into Spriggan form. We do our healing totems. You can do some like vines in there as well. The vines are fine. And then we pop an entangling roots. So entangling roots is like a support ability. So what we're doing here is we're looking at the blooming magic. And what this is doing, it is giving all our minions, totems and minions, 40 adaptive spell damage. Okay? Which means it's very hard to get adaptive damage or adaptive spell damage on totems and minions in general. So this is one of the best sources to be able to do that. The other thing we're doing is this. Attack speed to totems and vines, cast speed to totems and vines, armor to totem and vines, making them attack basically 50% faster, as well as giving them, you know, a decent amount of armor and the likes. So this basically just buffs our totems up to the maximum. We'll take these circle modes so we can hit a lot of different things. But that is really what we're trying to do. And then lastly, we've also got like a Spriggan, a summon Spriggan out, and he is just there to also buff the totems. So thanks to Aura of Retribution, it's giving all the totems base crit chance, which is super useful, as well as crit avoidance. It's giving them adaptive spell damage, and then it's giving them, you know, healing and dodge and all that kind of stuff that they needed. So that's how like the build kind of pieces together. So I'll just click over the planners if you do want to go through them. Most of this is pretty straightforward in terms of like how you would build it, right? So the Thorn totem's really benefiting from the crit chance there and the chance for double damage over there. And then what you're doing is you are altering the amount of points in mana efficiency to your mana pool. So it depends on how much mana you have in your build, but you just want to make sure that if you hit it 2 to 3 times, the cost of your Thorn totems is just slightly above it. So once again, said at the start, 85 times 3 is 255, which is slightly above my 241. If I had like, you know, a lot less mana, I might actually want to like put more points here to balance it out. It depends. You want to also work in your gearing. It's up to you. I don't really want to go too much into it, but like you will need to sort out your own gear in terms of mana. That's the Spriggan tree form there. Nothing too unusual. We are picking up the armor on ward gain just for a little bit there, as well as just the vines if you do want to use that. Spriggan tree. All right, for the passives. Nothing too unusual, going for the increased minion health and health. The minion spell damage is quite nice there. I have dual wielding, but I don't need it. I just happen to have it in everything I do, so ignore that. Hunter's Restoration as usual, and Berserker, so nothing out of the ordinary there. For the Shaman, we are looking to pick up armor with active totem, and then the attack and cast speed. That's just going to make it a little bit nicer to play. It's a bit too expensive to go for the totem damage, but you can do that. And then I go for the attunement and the penetration because that does work for your minions as well. Beastmaster, pretty usual. Just go for boar, and then go for the chase for the buff to your minions. And then in the Druid tree, so we're looking at the Chinless Plating and the Thicket of Thorns to start off with, as well as the Druidic Prowess. 1 point in the Spirit Warden just to get us over there. We go for our Harmonious Wisdom, and that will sort out all our crit avoidance alongside the Spriggan, so we don't need to worry about that. And then I am doing the Primal Shifter along with Reincarnation, and that just gives them a little bit of damage. So having 5 points in this means that the Shapeshifter buff will apply to my minions, but also just like having it, you know, every few seconds, getting a big heal off of that is really nice. Getting some 50% armor is obviously really good. Now, I don't believe Tiger Spirit works with this. It would be so good if it does work with this, right? But the way that this is worded leads me to believe that you have increased critical strike chance and multiplier while you have Shapeshifter. So it seems like adjacent to you having the Shapeshifter buff and not actually put within the Shapeshifter buff. Because that would be so good if that would also apply to minions. Lastly, I've just gone for Ogre Oath for the health regen and mana. You can also just look at doing the minion damage and healing there, or like the poison chance. There's a few options around here, as well as hide skin. For passives, nothing too out of the ordinary. Sorry, blessings. Resistances, all res, endurance, and endurance threshold. The gearing, the set I am using is the Pharaoh's Chisel. So you can see that there. You don't need that, but it is very good for what we are trying to do. So this is going to give a lot of base crit for your totems. You don't need too much in this because even having 25 intelligence, which I just get from passives and the ring, is enough, alongside the 8% base crit you get from a Spriggan. And I think that's it. Like, you don't need a lot, right? So that should basically get you there. We are looking for the Exalted increased cast speed for totems because the Thorn totems are casting the Mystic Thorn's spell. It is a spell, so we want cast speed for them, and that will drastically increase the amount of damage that they're doing, as well as the amount of poison stacks they're applying and how quickly they can do it. And then level of Thorn totems for the helmet. So those are the two most important affixes there. You want your Serpent Milk, as I talked about. I would not be using a Runestone. The Catalyst Chains has just come in, so unfortunately I don't have a better Catalyst on me. But I'd probably be looking towards the new Catalyst that has Int and Minion damage, or you could use the Int Ward per second and Ward retention one as well, because you do tend to get like a little bit of ward out of this. You want the Terra's Path with some move speed on them. Just get some extra binds, extra damage is really nice. For the rest, it's pretty straightforward. There's just, get your defensives in order, get some minion health, get some minion damage, and you should be fine for this. I am using Jura's Obsession at the moment. I don't have a good roll on this. Keep in mind, there is a bug. If you put Attunement on this, it does some funny things with your mana, but you'll be looking for something better than what I've got here. You don't want to use any of the attack speed ones because everything is a cast, but you would want, like, Armor Shred could be quite good, as well as just, like, health resistances and the likes, right? It doesn't really matter too much. Like, you don't need too much there. Like, Jewels isn't even that important to the build. And then we are using increased cast speed for totems there, and then a 9% chance on hit to summon the Thorn Totem as well. So if you make sure that you're just trying to hit things as well, you can also get your own set of Thorn Totems outside of the healing totems and the hives. You want haste, gain haste for 3 seconds when you summon a totem on your minor ones, and this will just mean that you basically have permanent haste up at all times. And then finally just finish off with some increased health idols if you do have them, or whatever resistances you are missing. So I should probably have some physical resistances in these 1x1s, but I just wanted to show what the build is. So that is basically everything for this build. I'm level 98, so I've still got a few points. It seems to do really good single target damage, especially since they've given a buff to Thorn Totems this patch. It just, wow, I've never actually been able to test this build on a dummy, and now that I can do it, I'm blown away at the damage. It is phenomenal. It is so good. So, as you can see there, absolutely blasting, and we should be seeing some of these go well above 100k once everything pops off. There we go. So, until next time, guys, that is the 18 totem build.